You want cheese on that, hon?
Ah, Samuel Blake. A time for leisure, relaxation, and taking it easy. Uh-oh. What's this?
Take me back to the place I know, with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started, my heart's in Gravity Falls.
Welcome to Mystery Shack Look Back, a nostalgic time capsule and no-spoiler book club of the original Gravity Falls fandom. We are your Academy Award-nominated curators. I'm Charlie.
I'm Academy Award-nominated Ella. Semi-finalist, technically.
That's a nomination.
It's almost a nomination. I feel like the finalists are technically the nominees.
Do you want to say what we're talking about?
That my thesis film, Slam Poet, which you can see on my social medias at DrawnWithoutRef on Twitter and Instagram, is a semi-finalist in the Student Academy Awards, which is like that academy, like that same, the
Academy of Arts and Sciences.
That academy, yeah.
Do you think the people who picked you as a finalist were from the Academy of Arts or the Academy of Sciences?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I want to say arts, but I feel like the sciences people do get a say. I feel like it wouldn't be fair.
I think when they give out an Oscar, they should specify which academy, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be a physical award show for the Student Academy Awards.
No, I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
But if we ever get to accept an Oscar, ever, we have to say, I would like to thank the Academy of Arts, specifically. The Academy of Sciences could go suck it.
Yes. I've always been partial to, I'd like to thank the Academy. I would like to. I'm not going to. I would love to thank you guys.
A story that has come up a few times on this podcast is the first 8 episodes of the show I watched in the same day with my friend Miles. I have talked about that a couple of times. We are now on episode 8, the final episode I watched in that first day. So we have with us, straight from the anecdotes, Miles himself.
Oh, good. Finally, I can exist again.
Yeah, you exist.
And Miles is not just a friend that I have recorded a Let's Play and watched TV shows with. You are a content creator in your own right. Can you tell us about the game you made?
Wow, I didn't expect to be plugged here. Yeah, I made a text-based adventure game called Chaos Quest. I spent 3 years writing it and 2 minutes editing it, apparently. It's like a dumb, beautiful choose-your-own adventure game where you just start your normal day as a pancake man, and then you just choose stuff. Stupid things happen. I made a commercial. I had Steven voice one line in it.
I will just play the audio for that commercial real quick.
Hey kids, do you like choose-your-own adventure games?
No?
Oh. No one wants our game! That shouldn't be possible! We've done all the market research and group testings! And the fortune teller told us that this year would be the perfect year for choose-your-own adventure games! The fortune teller lied! How much money did we invest in this?
We invested all of our money! This company is banking on this game's success!
We took out loans from 4 different mafias just to pay for this.
I sold my head to help pay for this game.
Forget about your head. What are we gonna do about the mob?
The mob's gonna take our noses, the bank is gonna take our houses, and my 7 ex-wives are gonna convince the government to nuke this building! We're all gonna die!
Chaos Quest, now available on an internet near you.
So if you want to check out Chaos Quest, there will be a link in the description. But to those that know what episode we're talking about, I think you'll already understand why our pairing of guests is perfect.
That's right. We are talking about Irrational Treasure, the 8th episode of the first season of Gravity Falls. It premiered on August 17th, 2012 on the Disney Channel.
So before we get into the episode, I would like to specify that Miles and I only intended to watch the first 7 episodes that day. Miles missed his train and was really upset, and I put on this episode to try to calm him down. And what an episode! Like, as if the fates noticed that Miles needed to be happier and brought this episode into existence.
This is definitely a cheer up episode.
I do remember that day. I also remember having diarrhea and trying to act like I didn't.
When we play the promo for the episode, that's when viewers at home can pause and watch the episode. So try to figure out which character in Gravity Falls has diarrhea in this episode, because they're not going to tell you.
The answer might surprise you.
This is also actually the first episode I ever saw, like, even before I saw it with you, Charlie.
I didn't know that!
Whoa, big secrets are being revealed here.
Yeah, well, I didn't see the full thing. I saw, like, a good 5 minutes of it while I was in, like, a Arby's or a Fridays or something. And I remember, like, falling in love with Grunkle Stan immediately.
And now you're married, if that's correct.
No, he left me for the... Oh, wait, that character doesn't exist yet. I can't mention him.
Oh, so there's a little spoiler for you guys. Grunkle Stan will find his true love.
Oh, and it's not Miles?
Let's see if it's in this episode, after the promo.
All right.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Man, look at the town.
Ah, no. It happens once a year.
We gotta get out of here. Uncle Stan, what's going on?
Pioneer Day! This year,
I gotta investigate this.
Gravity Falls Museum of History.
We're gonna have to break in.
Those kids will never get past us. Hey!
Dipper and Mabel's discovery.
Look,
Oh, gross! She's picking my nose!
now we'll find out who the real town founder was.
Will change Gravity Falls for... You'll just have to watch and find out. Oh, come on! All new Gravity Falls.
Are you ready?
Next Friday at 9:30, 8:30 Central on Disney Channel.
We just watched Irrational Treasure.
I love Grunkle Stan's just reactions to Pioneer Day. He's like, his lack of willingness to put up with any of the stupidity. It's just his automatic reaction to everyone is just make fun of them, no matter how much trouble it gets it in.
I love that you pointed out that he, thus far in the series, has never shown as much fear as he does when the town dresses up for Pioneer Day. They dress up like an old-timey 1800s town, and that's when Stan is, like, terrified for the first time in the show.
Yes.
Yeah, there are monsters all over this town. The Manitars make no effort to hide themselves. I'm sure we've seen one at some point. But this is what scares Stan.
I also love Quentin Tremblay. He's a ridiculous character. Very dear man after my own insanity.
So yes, this episode is about uncovering the conspiracy of the secret 8.5 president of the United States.
Quentin Tremblay.
It is a really weird idea for an episode. It's obviously partially influenced by National Treasure, as you could hear in the title.
Mm-hmm. And it's the setup that they will come back to for other story jumping off points is like, the town is doing a thing. Like, we're dressing up to do this. And I realized over watching this episode that this is, like, almost identical to the Simpsons episode Lisa the Iconoclast, in which the town is doing a pioneer-themed festival to honor their founder, Jedediah Springfield, and Lisa uncovers a cover-up conspiracy that he was actually a very different person. Which is fascinating to me, that these are near identical episodes.
We take a moment in every episode to talk about Alex Hirsch's influences, but I cannot downplay the fact that Simpsons is number one. He watched Simpsons when he was Bart's age and knew that he would grow up to make a cartoon. I personally believe that Simpsons is the reason the show takes place in Oregon, because Grunty Lois's cabin was Washington, Twin Peaks is Washington. But while Springfield in later seasons, the joke is that it's anywhere, it is based on the childhood of Matt Groening, who grew up in Oregon, and that's why there are several characters named after streets in Portland.
Isn't there like a actual Mystery Shack IRL though? Isn't that based off of that?
Yes, so there's a mystery spot in California Alex knew a lot about. There is a place called the Mystery House at the Oregon Vortex. The Mystery Shack does not seem at all based on the Oregon Vortex. Just the name, the Mystery Shack, seems to be based on the Mystery House at the Oregon Vortex and the fact that it's in Oregon. But other than that...
And ironically, this is the first episode that takes place completely outside of the Mystery Shack. We are never there in this episode for the first time.
Because of car trouble.
Yes. Stan gets his car stuck in some mud, and the mechanic is too busy role-playing to help him.
Give me a hand with my car, huh? Here in 1863, I have never heard tell of a car. Pray tell, what is this magic wheel box? Ah, come on, Steve, you're a mechanic for Pete's sake. Cut me some slack.
God, the old-timey jokes are so good. And for you, having worked at a Ren Fair, I imagine, was very entertaining.
And yeah, no, I was a Ren Fair employee, and then COVID happened, and I wasn't. And boy, this episode made me nostalgic. We had a delightful executioner who just loved his day and did everything with a smile on the face. And he, at the beginning of every day, he would try to convince tourists to get into the stocks, that like the ones that Grunkle Stan is in. He'd be like, "Oh, welcome to a fab village." Spending the whole time outside of the Mystery Shack allows us to spend time with the townspeople who we love.
We really, really do.
We get to see McGucket reading to children calmly and gently and then eating the book.
Which feels very strange for him. I mean, he tries to eat the book, but I am fascinated at the idea that children were willing to get so close to him.
And he encourages the children to eat the book. He's teaching the new generation of how to eat books. It's important.
Hey, Miles, aren't you a teacher?
Paraprofessional is the official term, but yeah.
Okay. That so much like a paratroopa is a Koopa Troopa that flies, a paraprofessional is just a professional with wings.
A professional that flies, yeah.
Yeah. Although I get jumped on every day, so keep losing them.
Yeah. We get the return of Pacifica Northwest from the previous episode, and kind of kicks off the motivation for the episode because her, I believe, great-great-grandfather, Nathaniel Northwest, is the alleged founder. But when Dipper, looking at the journal, realizes that maybe that's not the case, he and Mabel are going to go figure it out. And I love that Mabel kind of takes the lead in this one.
Yeah, this is a Mabel-centric episode. Because Dipper thinks they have to be serious to solve this conspiracy, but every time she is silly, she pushes them further.
It's a really good theme and a really good arc for her.
The whole moral of the episode is just being yourself and being silly isn't bad, and it really works because A, it's always pushing them forward, and B, Dipper's never the one complaining about it. I feel like a worsely written show where Dipper would be like, "Mabel, you've ruined everything again by setting..."
No, yeah, it would be Dipper learning.
Yeah.
It would be Dipper learning rather than Mabel learning, but instead it's Mabel learning to have confidence in herself.
Yeah.
And I love that, and Mabel's never, in addition to Stan comedically never having shown this much fear, Mabel has never really shown this much vulnerability until this point.
I've gone out of my way to avoid situations where I can't be myself. My job, I feel like it's good for me because I can definitely be honest with the kids I work with, so I generally don't have to go out of my way to talk down to them or lie to them or be like, "Yes, children, I do believe that sand is good to eat," or
You're trying to think of a normal thing to say, and it's a Quentin Tremblay thing. I love that.
"Oh, I'm such a boring person. I love to eat sand."
I guess that's my problem. The idea of not being myself.
You can't conceive of it. Yeah. I love that, and I connect to that because it's I, at this point, can't visualize an alternative, which I think is kind of where Mabel is as well, because when she literally takes off her puppy playing basketball sweater, and it's just a plain t-shirt in this episode, and she kind of doesn't know any alternative other than being herself, so she's in a low place for a lot of this episode, which is really interesting, and I feel so bad for her, and I just want to give her a hug.
I mean, yeah, that I do kind of get. There are times in life where I do fear that, despite being, 28, that, I still haven't hit, the official adult sane seriousness yet.
But, it's overrated.
I definitely feel more in control of my behavior than when I was younger, but I love getting to just say stuff on a podcast.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So do I. I could say whatever I want on this podcast right now. Charlie, why do you hate birds so much? And there will be no consequences to what I'm saying.
Yeah, Charlie. Why do you hate birds so much? Let's get into that. We've never addressed that before.
So the primary antagonist in this episode is not Birds.
Well, Birds actually end up with a happy relationship. Well,
yeah.
I don't know. It's a little rocky, but I think they're working out their issues.
I think we can't look at specific examples to celebrate victories in marriage equality.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. The very fact that a woodpecker...
I think it's destructive to point out that one woodpecker marriage is unsuccessful.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
We just need to celebrate the fact that Quentin Tremblay has legalized woodpeckers marrying humans.
You're right. We gotta focus on that. We can't get caught up in the minutia of it.
Because you never hear the stories about happy woodpecker marriages, and I wonder why that is.
It's the media. I mean, we don't have that representation.
Speaking of representation, this is the most Blubs and Durland have been in an episode, and I love it.
Yes, they actually kind of get to fill an antagonist role because they are assigned to track Dipper and Mabel down before they get to the secret of the town founder cover-up. So it's interesting. Headhunters, they were more of just like a foil to Dipper, but here they are like actively on the adventure as well.
You know what? I'm going to say it. I don't care if it's technically a spoiler. They are canonically gay.
Yeah, they're 100% married. Like
it is confirmed at some point in the show. I'm not going to make you have to wait for that like we did. This is 2021. The world doesn't work like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They describe that behind the scenes, it just started with, what if instead of being too old for this blank?
Yeah, he's not mad at the inept deputy. He's just, you are a delight.
They talk about how behind the scenes they gradually found that, okay, it's fine. It could be romantic in nature.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if this is the episode where that conversation started.
I feel like it probably, I have to imagine that the line about making friendship bracelets was S&P.
They have so many good lines in this episode.
Blubs needs to take a knee. He's a little tired. And Durland goes,
"Are you okay? Can I get you anything?"
And he says,
"Edwin Durland, you are a diamond in the rough."
And that's the reveal of Durland's first name.
There's also a moment that kind of ties in with the fan theory from 2 weeks ago, that the cops are inept on purpose, where...
Woo! I got a bail!
Someone gets pickpocketed right in front of them, calls for their help, and then...
Oh no! Police! My purse!
Ring, 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 ring!
He sure loves his bell.
Which is... yeah, like they saw it and chose to ignore it.
Durland chose to focus on how much fun he's having with his bell.
I love him. I support him.
I support them.
I love them so much.
So the Pacifica character was sort of created to be the antithesis to Mabel. For that reason, it's really fun to see her interact with other characters. We get the first Dipper and Pacifica moment in which he just blatantly gets revenge on her for being mean to his sister and then almost looks at the camera and says revenge is underrated, as if that is the moral of this episode.
The fact that he relishes that revenge, even though Pacifica's literally never done anything to him, shows how good of a brother he is. Because he's like, no, I'm not getting this revenge for me.
And Gideon was created to be the antithesis to Stan. And we didn't really get to see him interact with Stan in his first appearance. Stan is an angry old man that runs a tourist trap. So Gideon is a singing and dancing little baby that runs a tourist trap. And we got the first real moment with him interacting with Stan, which is the role he was created to fill.
That's a very good point. I never even thought about that. He very briefly interacted with him in Hand the Rocks to Mabel. We haven't seen him since. And he gets to kind of be in the right in this episode, I think, because Stan, insults the way he's dressed for Pioneer Day. And Gideon just throws tomatoes at him, which is you know what? Fair enough. You're good, Gideon, in this episode. When he's not doing anything actively evil, I can totally understand why the town is obsessed with him. So Quentin Tremblay, kind of the meat of this episode, the Tremblay meat in the middle of the sandwich.
Or the tomatoes.
The tomatoes, yeah. So Quentin Tremblay is very directly inspired from another CalArts film that Alex Hirsch made entitled Teddy Roosevelt, You So Crazy. But a lot of the jokes about Teddy Roosevelt in this little film are kind of tweaked and made about Quentin Tremblay.
Tonight, on Historical Tales of History, we investigate Theodore Roosevelt, America's first clinically insane president, and they unanimously voted to give him the authority to wage war against the sky.
I say blow it up with our bomb!
A secret order of Masons, led by the fattest man in America, concocted an elaborate and cunning scheme for assassination.
Roosevelt!
And that is how William Howard Taft became our 27th president.
The idea of a person whose presidency isn't really present in history probably almost certainly comes from William Henry Harrison.
So William H. Harrison is my favorite president because of how stupid his life is. Here's what happened. William H. Harrison, he had this big inauguration in the rain. He's like, nah, I'll be fine, guys, don't worry. And then he got pneumonia and died 30 days later.
And he wasn't, like, wearing a jacket or anything, right? Like,
yeah, his advisors were like, all right, President Harrison, here's an overcoat you can wear. And he said no.
Billy, put a sweater on. It's cold out. You'll get pneumonia.
I'm William H. Harrison. I do not get pneumonia.
Oh, Willie, you're gonna catch cold.
So they say that Quentin Tremblay was the 8th and half president who was replaced by, in all of the history books, by William Henry Harrison, which means... Yeah, William Henry Harrison in Gravity Falls canon was president for less than 30 days. The implication is that the country went through 2 presidents in a month.
Cuz kind of shrugged it off, you know?
By the way, the film reel in which we learn that is narrated by Chris Parnell, Dr. Leo Spaceman from 30 Rock, and Jerry from Rick and Morty. This is his only appearance in the entire show.
If you're watching this, then you are one of 8 people in these United States with clearance to view this information. In fact, I myself will be shot as soon as the filming is complete. What? No? Oh, well, that's a relief.
I'm convinced that, like, Disney made them put that line in because they totally would have just let him die if not for that.
You're probably right. The line was probably just that he would be killed after completing the film, and Standards and Practices was like, no, he can't be.
I mean, good for them, because that's a really funny joke.
Make the joke better. There's a lot of instances. I know there's a lot of flack towards Standards and Practices, but there are a lot of instances where trying to get around a joke
has
exactly. You come up with something.
Limitation.
Yeah, limitation makes you have to think harder. And so...
Because otherwise you get adult party cartoon.
But Eric Bauza, though. That's the start of Eric Bauza's career, so we could thank adult party cartoon for that.
But no, yeah, a lot of the times trying to work around things creates funnier moments that you wouldn't have thought of if you did not have limits.
There is more information to the cover-up than is offered by Chris Parnell's narrator, which we just see in a glimpse. But now, the vocal stylings of Miles Kitts will read it to you.
Let it be recorded here that... Should I do that voice, or just Let it here be recorded that Nathaniel Northwest, famous in his native Gravity Falls for standing in the park and hitting himself with a large boating oar until he blacked out, was chosen to become the Patsy Mayor of Gravity Falls. Northwest spoke in a series of grunts and screams, and often yells his trademark phrase, "I'm going to eat this entire oak tree because I am a powerful wizard." The fabled founder of Gravity Falls was in fact a fraud. His last moments on Earth were spent choking on a giant piece of bark, attempting to live out his beautiful dream. He was hated by everyone that knew him. He will not be missed. Thomas Jefferson was actually 2 kids in an overcoat standing on each other's shoulders. The current and forever president of the United States is actually Santa Claus. Under the reign of Mr. Claus, America is not a democracy, but a jollyocracy. The statues at Mount Rushmore are actually gigantic presidential-faced robots that will be called to action when America needs them most. An enormous, evil, time-traveling baby from another dimension is frozen in an Atlantic glacier. Fortunately, the glaciers never melt, so we should be fine. Writing jokes for cartoons is more important than sleep. If you recite the Pledge of Allegiance backwards, you'll gain secret wizard powers. This one is true, kids. Try it at home. The true founder of Gravity Falls was Sir Lord Quentin Tremblay III, Esquire.
Also, not seen on screen, but Mabel reads it on another page.
Oh, man. Ben Franklin secretly was a woman.
Yes, this is a callback to Legend of the Gobblewonker when they are reflecting on how they bonded with Stan by making counterfeit dollars, and Stan said,
You call that Ben Franklin? He looks like a woman!
But, yeah, Ben Franklin said trans rights.
Ben Franklin is probably the Quentin Trembleyest person in actual history. He insisted that the bald eagle made no sense as the national bird because the turkey is way more noble.
Yeah.
And used to sit naked by an open window for about an hour a day. He called it air bathing, and he thought it was a necessity.
It balances the humors. I love old-timey nonsense.
Except this isn't anything that... air bathing isn't a widely held belief. Ben Franklin decided...
Okay, I see what you're saying. There's old-timey nonsense, but people like Quentin Tremblay and Ben Franklin are just nonsense.
I think he was right about the turkey, though.
He was.
No, he was right about the turkey. The thing is, he sees the turkey just from actual biology and sees the bald eagle from actual biology, and everyone else stereotypes them based on their appearance.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was not able to perceive the fact that a bald eagle looks noble and a turkey looks silly, didn't notice, and couldn't understand that other people noticed.
Nobility is not skin deep. I kind of feel like with all this talk of cover-ups and mysteries and conspiracies, you know where I'm really itching to go?
Oh, Miles has never been there.
Oh my god, that's right, this is your first time.
Miles, will you check under that carpet over there?
It's a dog!
Yeah, so, okay, I'm gonna need you to put, do you see the trap door with the sign next to it that says trap door?
Yeah, but it says, please don't go in there.
Yeah, put the dog in there.
Okay.
And that dog should weigh down the switch that will open the passage to the Hall of Conspiracies.
Ladies and gentlemen, right this way to the Hall of Conspiracy!
All right. I love this new security mechanism we've got.
It's that, well, we specified last episode, it moves every episode.
Yeah, but we also don't want people to, steal our conspiracies.
Those are ours. They're delicious. They're delicious conspiracies that are part of our balanced diet.
So I'm completely unfamiliar with any Gravity Falls theories, so this is going to be like a blind treat for me.
Ooh, very interesting.
In the very first episode of Gravity Falls, Dipper reads in the journal that the author is being watched, and that's why he has gone missing. And someone from the Gravity Falls Conspiracies Tumblr believes this is the episode where the Watcher is revealed, the government agent that is covering up the secrets of Gravity Falls.
That's right. There is a man watching a bunch of screens that communicates with Sheriff Blubbs that they need to take care of this cover-up. All right, so this also comes from the Gravity Falls Conspiracies Tumblr. This theorist believes that the President's Key, which was given to Dipper from Quentin Tremblay, has a connection with the cursed doors for a future episode. The journal mentions some cursed doors on the streets of Gravity Falls. So perhaps the President's Key, which can open any lock in America.
Yeah, which is an incredibly powerful tool. It can open any door in America. It would be ridiculous if he never used that. And Quentin Tremblay, what is the cryptogram in this episode?
The cryptogram is none other than E. Pluribus Tremblay.
Thank you, Quentin Tremblay.
If you want to find more episodes of this podcast, go to our host network, pipedreampodcasts.com, where you can find other shows like Escape from Walt Disney, How Did This Not Get Made, and Come On Fahuquapods. Also, make sure to find this episode there, look in the description, and play Chaos Quest.
And while you're hanging around in that general area, you can find links to our show's social medias and Discord server. You can also contact us, send us your Gravity Falls fandom experiences at mysteryshacklookback@gmail.com.
I would like to thank Brian for making the instrumental for our theme song and for voicing Stan in the Hall of Conspiracies intro. I would like to thank Sim and the Dimbulb v2-0.tumblr.com for making the instrumental of the Hall of Conspiracies intro. I would like to thank Miles for taking his time out of his day to be on this podcast with us.
Thank you, Miles.
You're welcome.
As well as for voicing Quentin Tremblay and reading that entire Quentin Tremblay document. But no, this was I loved talking with you about this episode. This was perfect.
Thanks so much for plugging Chaos Quest. Like that was a surprise for me.
So now I believe I'm gonna play us out with this is a little ditty that I put together.
I'm a little ditty.
Thank you, Diddy.
You're welcome.
This guy gets me. Take me back to the place I know with the mystery shack and the forest gnomes. I'm already packed, so come on, let's go. Don't get me started. My heart's in Gravity Falls.
This is my first time using Disney Plus, and I was having a couple issues. I was trying to change my icon before, and I saw Jafar as an option, so I was like, yeah, obviously, but it's like site kept glitching out. Ella, I couldn't change my icon to that. You know why?
Oh, I think I do, but they won't even let you.
Come on. Everybody knows you can't play as Jafar.
Not even on Disney Plus?
Not even on Disney Plus.
That's it. Disney Plus is ruined. Face it.
Miles and I planned that joke before the recording session.
Oh, amazing.